I don't know if all of you get pop-ups or none. I'm not quite sure how that works on this side.
And for myself, it's Marie-Lou Leblanc, Resource Recovery Coordinator for the SLRD. Okay, so first of all, before we start, I'd like to acknowledge that I myself, I work, play, and live in on Squamish land, and I'm sure like the SRD has office in Pemberton and on Lillooet territory and on many other territories, unceded territories across the region. So I want to acknowledge that. Um, we will bring the agenda.
Can everybody see the agenda?
Yes.
So, um, before we get the approval of the agenda, I would like, the SRA would like to add an item. Um, as noted at 2:30 to 2:40 p.m. The ICI, no, yeah, the ICI Waste Diversion Engagement Project that will be presented by Laura from the District of Squamish. And we will also be removing the reusable wood pilot project. Lauren will not be able to present at this time. So I'd like to ask if there's anyone that would like to bring any changes, addition. Yes, Shannon, I see your hand. No, you're good.
She's
Um,
ready for the next step.
okay, seeing none, can I get a motion to approve the agenda with the changes, please? Just raise your hand. Perfect. Awesome. Agenda approved. Um, Can we bring the minute? Oh, Shannon, yes. No, okay. Uh, okay. So we have Misha joining again. Um, can I also get the motion to approve the approval of the minutes from April 1st, 2025 if no changes are requested?
Sorry, I'm a little bit slow, you guys.
You should all have received the minute.
They're always available on the meeting portal on the SRD website. Um,
So we have Shannon and Lauren for approval. Thank you. Okay. The objective of the PMAC. So the PMAC was set following the approval of the current solid waste management plan that was approved by the SLRD board back in 2016, approved by the Minister of Environment in 2019. So it's a committee that oversees the actions that was set as part of the plan and make sure like we're kind of like on track and that we bring more like either challenges or the good things that is happening around the region. Um, and we have quite a few updates. Sometimes it's updates like really technical updates. Sometimes will be like we know what's happening around the region. There's like few good things happening, so we want to share that. And then we always finish with like a roundtable discussion. Sometimes we allowed more time. Sometimes it's a little bit shorter, and then we just ask people to bring the new items they want to discuss that can be shared among each other, which it's like we're all working towards the same goal. So getting together and kind of like sharing what we're facing is always a good thing. So that's kind of the objective of this meeting. I will leave it to Vanessa to provide an update on the members.
Thank you. Yes. So, first thing is that we started advertising for new members. We do have one space available for at large. So, we advertised on social media twice last month. We advertised in the Peak, Lillooet News, and the Squamish Chief. So, if you know anybody from an organization that would like to join the committee, please let us know. Um, and there's an application now on our website. They can contact me or get the application from the website, and there's directions on what to do with it. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that because of the way that the memberships restarted when we started meeting again as a committee. A lot of the memberships are ending in 2026. So I just wanted to give you a reminder now, but I'll be emailing all of you. Unfortunately, the municipality, our members, you don't have a choice. You're with us. But for everyone else, Aware, Sue Singer, Whistler Community Services, Sea to Sky Soils, your term is ending in January 2026. So I will be emailing you and looking to see if you wanted to stay for another term and what does that look like. GFL's term is ending in February. Sue Maxwell, Pemberton Wildlife Association, Squamish Can, they're ending in May. And then the Lillooet Friendship Center Society in June. So I'll be contacting everybody looking for whether you want to stay on the committee or not if you can no longer commit. And in terms of First Nations, we would like the First Nations to be participating in the committee. We do have Lillooet with us today, but we used to have Squamish Nation, and we're trying to get a representative or to make sure that they know that they can be part of this committee. And we also contacted the Northern Statlium communities to see if they wanted to be on the committee, and the Titkit as well. I think that's everything for memberships.
Thank you. And yeah, for the new members, anytime you have a question, you can raise your hand, put the question in the chat. Like we try to keep this group quite casual, so it's a good space for all of us to ask questions. So if it's unclear as new members of this committee, just raise your hand, ask questions anytime. Okay, so an update on the solid waste and resource management plan update. So as for everyone's knowledge, the solid waste management plan is a 10 years plan. Each regional district has the obligation to renew and update the plan every 10 years. So we started the process in 2025 with the goal of having an updated plan in 2028 with the approval of the ministry 2028, 2029, depending on when we submit it and how long it takes. We're really hopeful that this time around it's not going to take 2, 3 years to approve, but more like a couple of months, up to 6 months. So what we did is in July 2022, we posted a request for proposal, and then we closed in on September 1st. We received multiple bids and we awarded the contract to KGS Group. They have great experience. They've done many of those solid waste management plan update across the province. And they themselves subcontract Engagement Delaney for the engagement piece. There's kind of two pieces of the solid waste management plan, as the plan in itself with actions, and then there's like the engagement plan, which is a huge part of this, getting all the information from residents, from groups, from elected officials, so we know exactly what the population want us to work on. with making sure that the plan is attainable, financially feasible, and all of that. So we had kickoff meeting already. We're doing this week. We're doing site tours. So we'll be going to visit the Goldbridge Transfer Station, the Lillooet landfill. Brian is kind enough. He will open. We'll go and visit the Lillooet Transfer Station, which is great. I haven't seen it, and we'll go down. So stay tuned. All the information will be posted on the SROD website, and obviously this group will be updated. That being said, a specific committee will be created for the update. So for anyone who would like to be more involved in the creating the actions and deciding on the next 10 years of the solid waste within the SROD, we will send invitation. We will be working with KGS in terms of setting that group and asking participation. So we didn't want to use the same group because we don't want to assume that you want to be part of the committee for the update, which will require more than 3 meetings a year, would require more time, more involvement. So we didn't want to assume that. So we will be creating an update committee that will go and review all of the actions and the current actions and where we want to go from there for the next 10 years. So, but stay tuned. We will be updating you. We will be providing information as we learn. We also ask KGS to do official presentation to this group as we hit milestone. Any questions around this?
I
Yes,
have
Sean.
one.
Yes, Brian.
I'm sorry, I'm so new to this. Tom asked me to join. I'm just not 100% clear of the overview of the purpose of this committee. What exactly do they implement?
Yeah, we review it, like we review the actions that hasn't been done yet. We try to find a path through it if we're able to, and then we share our challenges so we can all work together. Let's say, Brian, you're facing challenges at your transfer station. This it would be a great place to bring it up, and then we can see if I found a solution or if Shannon White at the Squamish found a solution or if we can help each other.
Okay,
And then it's really reviewing those actions that were set up in part of the solid waste management plan.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Shannon.
Mine's more just a comment. I just wanted to say thank you. I know that this process you guys are going to you are starting is giant. But from my experience at the District of Squamish, and Brian, maybe this also speaks to your question, is like this document, I have to say, I didn't originally realize how important it was. But it does guide like if member municipalities want to do any infrastructure upgrades or the SLRD wants to focus on budget items or things like that. So I appreciate that you guys are taking a thoughtful approach to this. Like I think you're doing a year or more of engagement around it, I think. I don't know. Let us know once you've got your schedule, but it's a beast of a project and yeah, I'm glad we're all part of it.
Yeah,
So thanks.
yeah, it is indeed huge. It's a 3+ years project. Um, it guides the next 10 years. I'm grateful to have Shannon, Andrew, Laura, Lauren, who has more experience now. And so we understand how important are the wording in the plan. It's crucial. So now that we know a little bit more, and like Shannon mentioned, she didn't realize I came on board when the solid waste management plan was just receiving the approval from the ministry, so I wasn't too much aware of the importance and how if it's not part of the plan, you cannot do it unless you do an amendment. So it's key for for the future of the solid waste within the SLRD. Um, and I recognize that the solid waste management plan doesn't oversee the solid waste within First Nations. However, a waste kind of like there's no barriers. There's no really like waste from Lillooet goes to Callahan, so at some point it's part of it. And so we're all working together toward the same goal, which is landfilling as less as possible. So all First Nations will be included in this engagement piece. Um, we will start working on a strategy. Engagement, Delaney will provide us with key point. Uh, the engagement strategy will be presented to the SLRD board early next year, and then that will guide us and provide more information on how we're planning the engagement. But it's going to be a multiple phase. There's going to be a pre-engagement, engagement, and then like multiple phase of engagement. It's still very, very new to me, so I'm also learning as we're going through the process. But I'm feeling confident with the consultant that we hired. So, so yeah, stay tuned. A lot more is gonna come. Is there any more questions around the solid waste management plan update?
I also wanted to add for anyone who's new to the committee, I did send an email with a bunch of links, but I understand that it's also overwhelming. So we would love to meet with you one by one on a phone call and go over it in detail. So just let us know.
Okay. Um, Perfect. For the solid waste and resource management plan action, so I'm gonna share my screen. Um, can you allow me to share my screen, Vanessa? Or do you want to pull the November 2025 solid waste status?
Try again. Your co-host, so it shouldn't be a problem.
Oh, yeah, okay. Perfect. Now I see it. Okay. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, perfect. Thank you. Okay. So to be mindful of the time, because going through all those actions can be quite time, it's quite long. Um, we will we will be sending as soon as we review it, we will be sending a PDF of all those actions and where we're at in the process. Right now, what we thought was mainly focusing on the items that were still waiting on updates, or we have updates to provide since the last meeting in April. And so it will be a little bit, it's not all the actions. That's what I'm going to say. So the first action that we're still waiting, it's the ICI and multifamily communication strategy. District of Squamish and Resort Municipality of Western, they've been working on this item for quite some times. However, on the SRD side of it, we did put it on the 2026 budget. We won that, and hopefully we will get the budget approved to complete this. We will be working on this in parallel of the solid waste management plan update. We don't want to include it as part of the solid waste management plan update because that might restrain us from moving forward. But we're hopeful that we'll be able to work on this in 2026 and get, at least on the SLRD side of things, a better understanding of the ICI, the multifamily. We don't have that many businesses on the SLRD boundaries. Most of them are within member municipalities, same as the multifamily. But it is important, it's still important to understand exactly what we have and who's doing what, so we can have a better approach on how to help multifamily and ICI to provide the service they need to provide, divert more, and all of that. Making sure they all have like a waste room and what kind of service they're providing, if they're providing as many streams as they should, at least diverting food scrap for the south of the SRD anyway. And some of the main recycling as well. So hopefully we'll be able to provide an update in 2026. Do you have any questions? I will not ask you all the time, but if you have a question, just raise your hands. And also Squamish and Whistler, when there's items for you and you have an update, just let me know, raise your hands, and you'll be able to provide your update. In terms of tourist accommodation communication strategy, this is when I'm going to ask Whistler and Squamish if they have any information to provide in regards of this. Lauren, do you want to start?
I don't have much of an update. One thing I can say about our communication strategy overall is it's looking like a lot of our waste messaging is going to get looped in under our Big Moves climate action branding next year. So that'll be a bit of a change for us. But as for tourist accommodation, don't have any specific updates.
Okay, thank you. Shannon, do you have any update? No? Okay. Can I ask you, Shannon, if it's still part of like something you're looking at, or is it something that you...
The tourist accommodation?
Yeah.
It's probably right now we're doing a focus on ICI, as you mentioned. And so I would say probably any tourist accommodation is getting bundled under ICI. So we're not working on a tourist accommodation strategy per se.
Perfect. Thank you. Next action or initiatives, construction and demolition communication strategy. I know District of Squamish and Resort Municipality of Whistler been doing great updates and great work on this. This is more an initiative that Vanessa is overseeing, so I will let her update as part of the SRD.
Construction demolition communication strategy. Yes, we had hoped to get started in 2025, but acknowledging that this District of Squamish and the Resort Municipality of Whistler have begun or have already released some great tools, I think we've decided that instead of doing a whole research and trying to double the work, we're going to wait till both of our member municipalities have released their material and then base a campaign from there. So hopefully, well, depending, hopefully in 2026.
And to provide a little bit of context, a lot of our CND materials is being handled by the District of Squamish and the Resort Municipality of Whistler. So all the materials from Area D, so Britannia Beach, Furry Creek, Paradise Valley, is like residents and companies are using the Squamish landfill, and then all of the waste, commercial waste, so and any large loads from Area C, so Birkin, Darcy, Pemberton, is handled at the Resort Municipality of Whistler Waste Transfer Station. So that's why we're really we'll be using their materials to align, and also because we don't handle that material. So we're going to be pushing with what they have, and hopefully we can align better and do a better job at diverting what can be diverted. So yeah, that's kind of like the rationale behind waiting on District of Squamish and Whistler for the materials. Do you want to update Vanessa on the Zero Waste Initiative? No, sorry. The coordination of local governments' internal zero waste initiatives. Um, we continue to progress. We've done, Vanessa have been working on that. Great works, but nothing new to update. The Bear Smart backyard composting. District of Squamish, you don't allow backyard composting as per your bylaw. Whistler, you're doing minimal promotion because of wildlife attractant. And the SRD, we're aiming more where there's no food. And like in Lillooet, we don't have organics program. We don't have wood waste diversion program. So backyard composting can be a good options. Aiming in 2026 to update the composting in Bear Country brochure. Um, we don't do a lot of promotion around that. We just want to provide information for the people who want to do it. But it's a little bit difficult because if you don't do it right, then it becomes an attractant. But also knowing that we don't have food waste diversion options everywhere within the SRD, and it's a good way of diverting the food waste. And
And
you're
I'll also give more of an update when we get to the next item for the outreach and education update.
in terms of EPR awareness, we continue to advocate for EPR, and I mentioned here, like November 2025, SRG will continue to advocate for mattresses to be part of the EPR. We have a specific line item during this meeting where we'll provide an update on that specifically. But we continue to advocate for having more materials being handled and diverted and properly managed through those stewardship programs, like tires and used oil and paint cans and all of that. So this is an ongoing, and it really doesn't never stop. In terms of rebuild center, like in Pemberton as well as in Lillooet, it is part of the solid waste management plan, the 2016 version. It remains a challenge to even find a way to have a rebuild center in those two communities. Land being one, having like a building, and then having an organization that is willing to take on. So the SRD haven't made any progress on this one. It's something that I think would be beneficial for both areas, to divert more materials that could be used. but as of now, we don't have any update. The reason I'm mentioning it here, this is where like if any of your organization, if you have any ideas, if like please give us a call and let us work together. Um, it's something that I would love to see in both areas. Um, I think in the Lillooet area that could be very beneficial. People are really handy. They could really benefit of using the materials. Um, but yeah, we're not there yet. So we'll see if it remains for the next plan or if we're able to make any progress within the next few years. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Do you guys have any questions or any comments? I don't see any hands, so um, we can um, we can move to curbside recycling. Um, I noted cancel here because the District of Lillooet does not meet the Recycle BC requirement for the recycling curbside collection. Because we're part of the Recycle BC program, it's up to Recycle BC to help us financially to provide a curbside collection. So, Eldon, that's kind of a good for you, good to know if you have any residents asking for recycling curbside collection, because we're part of the Recycle BC as of now. I did ask the question and there's no interest. However, and to do a curbside collection, we would have to do it on our own. So basically, that would be like a District of Lillooet and SROD decision, and being financially covered by both organizations to provide the curbside collection for for the residents that are on curbside, as well as changing the system at the Lillooet landfill recycling area. So unless we both of our organization find it's a priority and we have budget for it, um, as of now, it's not an option. Yes, Sue.
Yeah, I was just wondering, Mary Lou, because I know Recycle BC has set their standards for things, but the province has not. And although the province was looking at accessibility for different programs, so I wasn't sure, maybe Mary Lou or Eldon, if there's any advocacy work being done by the district or the regional district to the province to say, hey, our residents deserve the same services as all the rest of BC residents, and making sure that the province then enforces their recycling regulation to make sure that those services are being provided.
I myself haven't done any advocacy. We do have a depot. Like we have I think we have a pretty good depot that accept most of the items located at the Lillooet landfill. Um, I don't know, Eldon, if you so far have heard from residents that is really a priority for them to receive the curbside collection for the recycling materials.
I haven't heard anything. Granted, I mean, I'm new to the job. I've only been in for 2 months, so I haven't really heard anything. Longtime resident. It's kind of always been an ongoing discussion, but nothing, nothing too pressing.
Yeah. And I think that will like going towards the engagement for for the update would be a great time to really hear. Um, we did an engagement, we did an engagement a couple of years ago for the Lillooet landfill, and that was not like it was mentioned, maybe once or twice, but it wasn't like high priority to get the curbside. So they can bring everything at the depot the same way as the Pemberton transfer station, same as the Pemberton, where we don't have curbside collection, but we have the depot. So yeah. Any other questions on that topic? Vanessa, do you want to update the recycling waste at events?
Sure. We do have a sustainable event waste guide available. We worked with Aware to develop the guide. It's available on Aware's website. It's also available on our website. And we're just working on making an SLRD branded version. I think we're at the end of it. I'm just waiting for the okay from comms, and it's got some fun illustrations. So I'm excited to share it with you guys.
Yeah. Just for background information around events, we required events permit only for events that are 200 people and more. So, but we're hoping that this can be shared to like more than just the one that required permit. I know that some events are happening on the SRD without permit as well because it's quite large, so I think it's easy to hide an event. But we're really hoping that we can share more and more, and that people can start asking more questions on how to reduce waste at events on the SRD. So. Uh, the expansion of the Squamish landfill. Shannon, do you have any update?
Yes and no. So we are still pursuing the landfill expansion. So it's our current landfill is on track to be full by the end of 2029. Although I am always worried that that's sooner. Denise from GFL, her team's working hard to compact the garbage as well as they can and divert as much as possible. But space is tight at our location. And so the expansion is underway. There was a little bit of a holdup because of the provincial job action. Unfortunately, we're waiting for a permit right now. And so the department that processes the permits was unavailable. I just got an email though, they're back today, and so we're back at working through the process. So it's an update, but it's not a big update. We're just excited that the province is back at the table, and now we can keep working with them on that.
Perfect. Thank you so much. The next initiative is the establishment of a working group evaluating residual waste management options at the regional district level, like at a regional waste management option, like following the fact that Squamish landfill is almost full and waste going through Callahan waste transfer station being landfill outside the region. That group, while like the SRD have been doing a fantastic job at keeping that group ongoing. We had met a few times, but not as often as we should have. So our next meeting is on November 26th. So yeah, that would be a great opportunity just to look at options and what are the next step for the regional district and member municipalities around this topic. You should, Vanessa, they should have received the meeting invite, right?
So that group is smaller. It's made up of member municipalities, First Nations, and I think experts on the matter. So not as big as this committee.
Perfect. For the Lillooet landfill, complying with the BC landfill criteria. So in 2024, we provided the design operations and closure plan to the Ministry of Environment. We just heard back. The ministry is reviewing the DOCP right now. So that would be a great opportunity to make sure that we're, up to the standard from the ministry. And the other items that is still ongoing is the groundwater monitoring well. So was planned for October, but because we heard Minister of Environment by the end of September, we wanted to wait and sit down with the ministry to talk about our groundwater monitoring program and the plan of us adding monitoring well. But due to the job action, as Shannon mentioned, it got delayed. So we're pushing the drilling of those wells into 2026 to make sure that we have time to sit down with the ministry and make sure that everything that we're planning to do is approved by them. Because a lot of the cost for this is really to bring the machine at the Lillooet landfill. So while being there, if they need us to drill 2 wells instead of 1 or 3 wells instead of 2 or 1, then we rather want to have a conversation with the ministry prior to do all that. So we do have a plan together. So far, it seems to be approved by the ministry, but we just need a few more conversations to make sure that we're on the same page and we don't have any surprises when the work is complete. But that should happen in 2026, adding monitoring well. And then everything else that was contaminating lifespan assessment was part of the DOCP. Landfill gas monitoring probes been installed in 2023. Gas monitoring on site 2022. Fire break was done in 2019, and it's an ongoing. It's maintained annually. So we're kind of on track with this one. So that is it for the update on the initiatives that were like a little bit outstanding or needed updating. Everything else is kind of like either has been or most of our initiatives are ongoing, so they never really stop. A lot of those initiatives are education outreach programs, so it's just like an ongoing. And following the meeting, you will be receiving like a complete list and an update of the progress for each one of them. So following that, if you have any questions, you can always reach out. I will stop sharing my screen. Sorry, it's always longer than we always want to keep it short, and it's no matter what, it's always long. Okay, the next item on the agenda, it's the 5-year EPR plan matrices. So for those who are new, EPR really is all those stewardship programs. For example, used oil, tires, paint. It's where you pay a little bit like an eco fee when you buy the items. So it's being properly handled and managed. And it's being handled by the province. So it's handled at those transfer stations and landfill, but there's like provincial program to support. So we did receive a letter saying that the mattresses will no longer be part of the 5-year plan of the EPR. We all know mattresses are a huge part of the cost to handle. It's either like in the north of the SRD, we don't have a program. The cost of handling and sending those mattresses to be recycled are significant. And so as of now, it's still being landfilled at the Lillooet landfill. In the south, we do have a rotation program at the Pemberton transfer station where we have a bin for mattresses every couple of months. In Squamish and in Whistler, you're subsidizing heavily those mattresses to be recycled. Brian, can you update us on how you handle mattresses?
Yeah, we contract a bin from GFL, and it is a huge expense. We go through about a bin about every month or two. We seem to have a high turnaround because the Whistler is so close, and they either give away mattresses for free or sell them really cheap, and it kind of persuades our community members to change out their mattresses more than they should. So on average, we're paying about almost $3,000 per bin, and sometimes that's once a month.
Wow. Yeah.
So I mean, I think communities farther away from a resort town probably wouldn't go through as much, but yeah, we have a ton. Especially when Whistler posts up, free mattresses, come get them. Usually the next week I'm hit with 50. So yes, it's a huge expense for us.
Yeah, and thank you. Thank you, Brian. And like it's something that member municipalities and regional districts all across the province um, been talking about. Um, so just for information, regional districts across BC, member municipalities have sent letters to the province asking them to add the mattress again. Uh, their rationale is about the financial, but at the end of the day, like either you pay when you buy a mattress or you pay when you bring the mattress to your transfer stations or to your landfill, and then it's subsidized so through taxation. So residents are still paying the cost. Um, it's just not properly managed and not managed the same way across the province. Um, so, um, so just for your information, on August 20th, SRD sent a letter to the Minister of Environment. And then on October 1st, we did receive a letter from the Minister of Environment just saying that we thank you for your letter. We received it. We're not going to change. Um, Mattresses are still not going to be part of the EPR as of now. Yes, Brian.
One thing we did try to do on our site was dismantling the mattresses. We have a crew of 2 to 4 workers, and we started stripping them and reducing them down to wood. The box springs would be wood, and that could be burnt or put in the wood pile. We started stripping the mattresses down to the springs, and that would go in the metal bin. It's very time consuming, but it would definitely cut your cost, and it's quite a workout, but it would reduce your costs pretty much.
There's other regional district, Brian, that been doing that. So if you want to talk to those guys and see how they do it and like speak the same language of like what they have in place, if they found like over the years, if they found ways of being a little bit like more efficient or less time consuming, let me know. I will definitely put you in contact. Um,
We decided to steer away from that just due to the fact that it is so time consuming that I find it almost as cheap as just to send the mattresses into GFL and it frees up my man. Basically, it would take a man, all day to strip a few. So financially, it wasn't worth it to strip them for
Okay.
us.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. It's good to know. It's good to know. Still trying to see ways of, now that I know that so far province is not willing to bring it to part of the PR. I was really hoping for that for the north of the SRD. But now that it's not on the table, I'm gonna look at different options and see what can be done. But it's good to know that it's so consuming that it's financially not really worth it. Um, Louise or Lou.
Sorry, I was just going to say to Brian's comment, we tried that at the Rebuild It as well, tearing the mattresses apart. And then we realized that the money that we're saving and paying for the mattresses, we're losing in the labor, and we stopped doing that. But yeah, people get really mad at us when we can't take them when they're dirty and they're stained and they don't want to go with it themselves. So Lauren and I have been chatting on some options on that, but we haven't come up with anything solid yet. And on that note, somebody is waiting to see me, so I'm stepping right out.
Thank you so much. Shannon.
It's really interesting to hear both Lou and Brian, your experiences, because I just got out of a meeting where we're gonna take the next few months and assess how many box springs. So let the mattresses be recycled, and we keep paying a lot of money for that. But we're gonna try and see if, at least in the summer, how much it would cost us to hire someone and come on site and dismantle box springs, like kind of just run a very tiny pilot. Unfortunately, we're hitting rainy season and I don't want to pay for a tent right now. So, and we don't have any indoor space where someone could work. So yeah, anyway, I might circle back with you, Brian, like not today, maybe next year and when I'm starting to kind of build this out a little bit more, and see kind of any tips you have. And we would get a contractor because we don't have anybody on site who could do it. But yeah, okay. It's good to hear what people are doing and not doing. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you. Sue.
Yeah, I know that the province didn't want to go through with it right now because they mentioned affordability, but I think that's one of the misconceptions that happens is that it's not the same as taxpayers paying for it or the people pay for it. It's the producers pay for it. In some programs, the producers don't pass the fees along at all. So Recycle BC, the pharmaceutical program, those sorts of things. So there's no guarantee if they did a program, A, that the prices would be passed along. The other thing is it's not one-to-one. So all the programs will charge a fee on all the stuff they sell, but they're only covering the costs of the stuff they get back. And then the third thing is it's different people sometimes. So mattresses are quite expensive, like new mattresses are quite expensive. The people who might be trying to get rid of an old mattress might not be the same people who are buying the more expensive new ones. If you're buying an expensive new mattress, you can probably afford the fee. That's not a problem. If you are trying to get rid of an old mattress, especially one that maybe you were given for free, it's lovely, I guess, of the hotels to offer that. But at the same time, that does mean that they're basically giving the disposal cost onto the person who gets the free mattress. So it's not really free. So that's where I kind of think, Brian, I don't know, like you have great stats. You may wish to send a letter to the Ministry of Environment and Parks about your experience in your community, what that looks like. Because I think sometimes they think, because some of the bigger regional districts or some of the bigger communities already offer mattress service, often subsidized. They think, oh, a lot of the places are covered. And so hearing from smaller communities where that coverage isn't there or where it's a big expense is probably good to hear.
Thank you. Yeah, more they hear from us, more maybe they can understand the different reality depending where you are. Yes, Denise.
Well, I was going to talk about this when my turn came, I guess, but since everybody's talking about mattresses, I will talk about them a little bit now myself. For one thing, I think it is remarkable how many mattresses are in the corridor. Like it's a non-stop churn. Also, what everyone should know is they're really difficult to work with. So I mean, just even to load them into a trailer at the Squamish landfill, or what Brian's doing, it's not easy. They're difficult to manhandle. So every time my team has to take them out of and reorganize, and the way they have to be stacked, it's quite a complicated procedure. But that's not what I was going to say. What I was going to say was, um, one of my colleagues in Victoria actually, because it's difficult for them to transport. One of the problems I think with mattresses is there's not a lot of people who are actually recycling them. So in the Lower Mainland, there's one company that does it in Hope. So it's a bit remote. It's difficult to kind of physically get there. And from Victoria, from the island, it was difficult for them. They couldn't afford the transportation. If you think it's expensive, from Pemberton, you can imagine what it would be like coming from northern, Port Hardy or something, coming down island, getting transported 3 times, and then going across on a ferry ride out to Hope. So what they do is they actually do recycle them, Shannon. And so what they'll do is they can recycle them. They recycle them with an excavator in about 5 minutes a mattress, because they've gotten it down to a bit of an art. But it's not simple. So with an excavator, the excavator rips it apart, pulls out, because you're right, there's the wood, there's the metal spring, and then there's the material. So they needed to have they have a material. It's easier to transport that material because it's largely large fluff. The metal, though, even that, because it's all the springs, it fills up their bins really quick. So they're having to, that's even a trick. So the whole thing with the mattress is a trick all the way through. So I agree with you. I think we need to keep pushing for an EPR, because I think it's difficult. And I think Sue's point is something that we really need to make, is the inequity between the person who can afford a new mattress and then the person who is disposing of a mattress. And I think for municipalities, the reason that they try to keep it cheap enough to and subsidizing it is because you don't need mattresses in the forest all over the place. If it's too expensive to get rid of it, people will just toss it out. So if you're moving out of a house, and you're not going to take your filthy old mattress, you end up leaving it behind, then it gets moved onto the deck, then it gets moved out into the woods. So it is really quite a little conundrum. So I guess I didn't add anything there. I'm just saying yes. Yep. That's it.
Yeah, I think everyone is on the same page of like, would be great to have an EPR to help our communities to be able to do the right thing and divert them and recycle them, and provide the same level of service everywhere. Like, I feel guilty that we're still landfilling mattresses at the Lillooet landfill. It's far from what I want to do. But even pre-COVID, I think it would have been like up to $100 a mattress to get them recycled. I haven't done the math yet, but I'm assuming it's probably doubled since COVID with the new cost of everything. So I'm gonna have to do more research for the north of the SROD, so we can see if even stopping landfilling mattresses is a thing, is an option for our residents. But what I want to add before I give it to Shannon is that there's still more advocacy that can be done. And I know that at the SROD board, at the last meeting, they're going to push forward at the UBCM, so Union British Columbia Municipalities, when they meet, to push for more advocacy. So we continue having those conversations, so it doesn't stay we don't forget about mattresses, and um, the province doesn't walk away um, from continuing having those conversations. So, Shannon.
Sorry, just one last comment on this. I get really fired up about mattresses. I agree with
We all
Sam
do.
that it's just like I just don't think the logic is making logic in this sense. Um, or what is it, math not mathing or whatever that expression is. But and I just looked, so unfortunately the way our council works, I wasn't able to get a letter to the province through yet because they went they go no, they go away. They closed down for August and it just didn't work out with timing. But I pulled all the stats for their UBCM and I just looked it up and we subsidized mattresses by 70,000 in 2024 and it was over 40,000 already in 2025 up to August. So I just feel like it's like one of those things to Sue's point is like that subsidization cost is taken on by our utility, like the users who then like now pay a slightly higher tip fee for garbage and things like that. So I just think it's really an unfair system for mattresses in particular. And we just are increasing our tipping fee this year to $30, which doesn't even like it doesn't cover the cost of it, but we had to do something. So yeah, and we are, I would say, we're the most southern member municipality, so we're probably the cheapest out of everybody on this call to get rid of mattresses. So I can't imagine what your costs are. So it just, yeah, it blows my mind. So anything we can do, I'm still trying to get a letter out to the province. And thank you to the SLRD for sending one on behalf of all of us as well. It's appreciated.
Yeah, it would be interesting, Shannon, to see if there's like an increase in illegal dumping with the bump of coming from $21 a mattress to 30. Yeah, we increased the cost at the Lillooet landfill to, I think it was $10 because in the past we didn't have a cost for mattress per se. They could bring their mattress as a residual waste, which was $70 a ton. So depending if the mattress was wet or not, it could have been like $2 for a mattress. So I made a specific tipping fee, but I couldn't bring it to $20 like from the beginning. And I definitely don't want to see mattresses being dumped like as illegal dumping, but it would be interesting to see because there's always that talk around tipping fees versus increase of illegal dumping. So that one would be quite obvious if we see more illegal dumping of mattresses. Um, just as an update, Sue mentioned that there was an emergency resolution at UBCM on mattresses that was passed, so they will be working on it as well. So this is great news, and hopefully we have more update as we move forward. Just going to try to be mindful of our time. We're all very busy, so unless we have anything else to say around mattresses, going to move to Vanessa. Do you want to provide an update on the outreach and education?
Sure. I'll try to make this quick. So last time we met was in April, so I'll start in May. We held our collection event in Devine in partnership with the Tire Stewardship BC. We collected 177 tires off rim and 53 on rims and 1 megabag of small appliances and electronics. In April, it was Pitchin' Week, so the board waived the tipping fees for Pitchin branded bags if there was still any in circulation. And then we asked organization to register with us, and we would give them a certificate that would allow them to get their tipping fees waived. At the scale, the board made a proclamation and proclaimed Pitchin' Week, and then we had a social media campaign that ran for the month. And then during Pitchin' Week, we had one post per day, and it was called Disposal Insights. And it was different tips on how to reduce waste or tie down waste in pickups and things like that to reduce litter. And then it was all up on our webpage. So it was a total of 7 social media posts with 3,416 views, 12 interactions. And then in terms of cleanups, the Village of Pemberton, the District of Squamish, and the Resort Municipality of Whistler hosted amazing cleanups with Aware. And I think the Stewardship Pemberton also collaborated with the Village of Pemberton. So thankful for you guys during Pitching Week. And then we hosted our annual staff cleanup. Following that, we had our Make Soil Not Waste campaign, which runs over the summer. So that's comprised of workshops. So we had a workshop, the Pemberton CD Sunday, and when I say we, Stewardship Pemberton did Society. Birkin, the Easter event in Birkin, Slow Food Cycle, and the Grizzly Art Show. There was a total of, for a social media campaign, there was a weekly post for 10 weeks. The views were 6,790, 35 interactions. And then Stewardship Pemberton was also sharing or creating their own content to add to the campaign. And I'll elaborate a little bit on the workshops. So the workshops, when they're held in more of an urban area, let's call it, if we can consider Pemberton urban, where there's a transfer station where you can bring food scraps. The education component is what are the tips and tricks to collect food scraps separately at home and bring them to the transfer station, especially if the transfer station is like 10 minutes away and you don't go every week. And then as we move out of those urban centers, so let's say in Devine, Darcy, then the messaging becomes how can we, if you're already committed to backyard composting, how can you do so safely without it becoming an attractant? So not so much encouraging people to do it, but if they're already, willing to do it, how can they do it safely? And we are going to sit down with our partners and work on updating our composting and bear country brochure. Yes, hopefully we'll get, some content drafted this year and then we'll actually update it in 2026. Curbside audits in Britannia Beach and Furry Creek, we had them from May to September for a total of 10 audits, 9 for recycling for a total of 623 audits. I did some rough math on our audits and it could be inaccurate because we haven't cleaned up the data yet. But I came out with 56% of those audits were champions. And then we held one organic audit and 77% of those audits were champions. We also partnered with GFL to start turning totes around that contain hazardous waste or waste that is dangerous or large or can damage equipment. So we communicated that with the communities and then implemented it. The District of Squamish is doing it, so we just followed the process already in place with Squamish Can. And as far as I know, and Shannon, correct me from the notes, I don't think that we turned any totes around. So diversion ambassadors, we have ambassadors in the north of the region and we have ambassadors in the south of the region. So for the south of the region, we held pop-up depots, Canada Day celebration we attended, and the Brackendale Fall Fair. Took some notes on the pop-up depots here. We had a total of 10, 5 in each community. 2 of them were joined by the Wild Save coordinator, and we collected a total of 20 and a half 45-gallon bags of flexible plastics, 6 45-gallon bags of foam, and 4.5 liters of household batteries. And then I just wrote myself a note to let you guys know that we also collected batteries, thankfully led by GFL and the District of Squamish through the curbside programs in April, and then this coming November, tomorrow, actually, for our communities. And then the last thing that I want to mention, it's not really education and outreach, and I didn't ask Mahu if I can mention it. We held this South Interior Waste Management Association conference. So that means that we had a gathering of regional districts from the interior. We included the resort municipality of Whistler and the district of Squamish, and we were joined by multiple EPRs, including Call to Recycle for the household batteries, Product Care for lights, paint, and household hazardous waste, Tire Stewardship BC, Recycle BC for paper and packaging, and MAR for large appliances. And then we also had some of our community partners there. We Isotag, Aware, Squamish Can, and some of our sector partners, including small propane tanks and hazardous waste disposal from GFL Kelowna. So yeah, that was really good to get everybody together. That wraps up my update.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, that was a big item that we can check off our list, and because it's taking quite a bit, it took quite a bit of our time. So do you guys have any questions for Vanessa? I see none. Okay, we can now take a break. 10 minutes. It's 2:20. Let's come back at 2:30. If some of you just turn your camera on or raise the hand, so I know that we're not waiting for you. Perfect. Thank you, Shannon. Thank you, Denise. Right. We have Misha. Okay, perfect. I think I saw Alexandra. Sue, are you with us? Alexandra, perfect. Thank you. Awesome. Okay. I think we can start. Okay, so the next one will be Laura from District of Squamish. Do you want, whoops, no, sorry. Can you bring the agenda up? We have two
Sure.
versions of the agenda.
Yes.
Wrong idea. Thank you, Vanessa. Okay, perfect. So quick update on the sea-to-sky soils. So as of November 1st, Sea2Sky, just wanted to update the group that the Sea2Sky soil have been accepting food waste from the Sea2Sky area. Again, they were closed for quite a while, but they're now accepting food waste again in a limited amount, and residents of the south of the SRD, so that includes District of Squamish, Resort Municipality of Whistler, Village of Pemberton. It's all going to Sea2Sky soils. So that's all the update I have. Shannon, do you want to add anything? No? Alexandra?
Hi, thank you for the update. I wanted to check, are they accepting farm commercial as well, or just residential food?
No, commercial as well. As of from what I understand, as long as it's within the SROD.
Okay, thank you.
And then if they're able to accept more from the outside, depending on like tonnage, then they will. But we had a conversation, District of Squamish and I had a conversation, and we kind of made sure that they were focusing on SROD members, municipalities first. And then if they had enough, if they're able to accept more tonnage, then they can open it to other areas. But yeah.
Thank you.
Any questions? I see none. Okay. Laura, do you want to give us an update?
For sure, yeah.
Awesome.
I'll share my screen.
We have new members, so if you want to
Okay,
introduce
sorry.
yourself, that would be awesome.
Apologies. My name is Laura Wittenzellner. I'm with the District of Squamish. I'm the Outreach Sustainability Coordinator and on a team with Shannon White, who's also on the call right now. Yeah, happy to be here today and talk a little bit about ICI waste diversion and some work we've been doing around that. I have a little presentation. Some of you will have already seen some of it because I presented on the same topic at the SEMA conference that was organized by SLRD. But I hope there's something interesting for all of you. Okay, let me know if you can see that okay.
We can see.
I'm taking that as a yes. Okay. Yeah, so in Squamish at the district, our focus has shifted a bit, or we're very actively shifting our focus away from residential to ICI, so industrial, commercial, institutional waste diversion, simply because it is a huge contributing factor to our landfill that is rapidly filling up. And we need to shift our attention a little bit towards that and need to support businesses more with doing the right things when it comes to waste diversion and simply just implementing the basics of diverting waste. When we started this project or started talking about wanting to engage businesses more and support businesses more, we very quickly realized that we needed to do some engagement to begin because we hadn't actually done any engagement. So we worked with Squamish Can. I believe Shannon Friday was on the call or is on the call as well. She did this for us. And she basically went out and surveyed businesses in person. And then we also had a survey online for, I believe, 2 months, directed to the business community. And the objectives of both those surveys were to assess awareness levels when it comes to waste diversion, but also understanding if businesses are aware of local bylaws or of provincial regulations that they must comply with. We wanted to understand what the current waste management and diversion practices are and if there is any diversion in place. And then, of course, really important for us is knowing what the barriers and limitations are to compliance. Further, and pretty important as well for us, we wanted to understand what kind of support businesses are looking for, because we can spend a lot of time and money on developing, some resources that might not actually hit the spot. We wanted to understand what they were looking for. So we had exactly 101 participations. Most of those were in person by far. Some businesses did not want to participate in person or they didn't have the time. But a lot of those that Shannon Friday visited were able to participate. And there's a little chart there for your reference to get an idea of what kind of businesses participated in the survey. It was mostly almost half of them were retail, and then hospitality and food service. Sorry, food service is the dark green one. So that would have been restaurants primarily, were the next most common one. After the engagement phase wrapped, both the in-person and the online engagement phase, Squamish Can prepared a report for us outlining the key findings and just an overview of the project. And so this was the first step to understanding and knowing what the status quo is. What we've learned is that there are very low levels of awareness when it comes to municipal bylaws. Really, barely any businesses even knew the bylaw by name. Not that that matters so much, but they didn't necessarily know what we were referring to. A lot of food service businesses have relatively, and retail businesses too, have relatively high levels of awareness when it comes to the provincial plastics regulation, because there was a lot of messaging from the province around that. 95% of the businesses we surveyed do recycle, but the recycling streams are heavily underutilized. So they might simply just do cardboard recycling. Very few businesses have any waste diversion plan in place. And if they do, then it's usually because it comes from above, because they are part of a bigger corporation and might have guidance from above, or because there's public pressure. So customers say, hey, what are you doing? Well, how are you reducing your waste? So that was two important things, I think, for us to understand. And the most common barriers to compliance, to no one's surprise, is space. Space limitations are a big one, especially in downtown Squamish. A lot of businesses share space as well, or share waste rooms with residential buildings. So there is a space restriction that is very real. Cost is another one, staff capacity and participation. And then a fourth one that came up a lot was just a lack of awareness or confusion about best practices and requirements. I will say about all of this, we need to take it with a grain of salt, because of course, it is probably fair to assume that it is easier to say, I'm not aware, I don't know anything about this, tend to be faced with possible repercussions. And then the other thing is businesses that really poor practices, we assume would not want to participate in a survey like that. So this is valuable information, but there's likely, there's some things we might not find out unless we develop a mandatory survey for all businesses in town. The support requested from the district, primarily what people said was signage and labeling, providing toolkits that are easily applicable to all businesses, better access to shared facilities for businesses that use shared waste rooms was a big one. Training for staff. People would love for us to come in and train staff or offer webinars or in-person trainings that we can provide, especially I think around waste auditing and just best practices when it comes to waste diversion. And then what came up a lot was reduced fees for all waste streams, pickup for all recycling, so like including materials like soft plastics, glass, things like that, styrofoam, and then better streetscape bins. So these were interesting ones. Again, we need to take that with a grain of salt. All of you probably know more than the general public that not all these things are actually in our control. And streetscape bins, obviously, yes, a valid fact, but then comes with its whole other set of challenges. And but that was what was requested. We kept that question open and just were open to suggestions. And the next steps, now that we know a little bit more and understand this, this best practice research and analysis that followed after it has been completed. This was really interesting to see what other municipalities are doing and how they're approaching things. And then what I'm reviewing right now is a next step that we had contracted out, which is a draft engagement and outreach strategy. I will give you some ideas of what the initial recommendations out of that are, but as some of you or all of you will know, there's things that the District of Squamish have not been a routine MO the past couple of weeks, so we're only just getting back into this project. And then we want to develop resource and develop a communication strategy. So basically, we have done the engagement. We are working on reviewing how we can best approach the businesses, and then we want to get to the actual development and implementation. And out of this piece of work that we contracted out, the outreach strategy, these are some initial recommendations. Again, let's take it with a grain of salt. We might not be able to do all of this, and not all of this might be even within our ability to do, but this is what objectively by the contracted person working on this, what they provided us with. So the first thing is we need to educate businesses on their responsibilities under local bylaws. There's a huge gap there. Business owners don't know. They're not aware that they all need to have organics and that they have to have several streams of recycling. They simply do not know. And this is something we need to catch up on. It's almost a better situation, I think, than people knowing what they should do and not being willing to do it. So I think there's a lot of opportunity to optimize this. We'd like to provide general and tailored resources. So for those businesses that might not want to jump into this with all their power and enthusiasm, general resources might still be helpful and make it as easy for them as possible. And then more tailored ones for those who are really invested in this process. And then providing on-site audits was suggested. We probably won't be able to afford that, but we would like to somehow help enable audits because it is a really, really valuable tool. And then workshops and training is something that we'll definitely look into because this is more realistic for us to do. Offer discounted physical bin setups was an interesting one. We'll see. I have to explore this one a little bit, but basically the thought behind it was it would be ideal if most businesses in town would have the same bin setup. So even if you have staff changing workplaces or if you have if you have people cleaning the spaces and using the same disposal bins, they know how to use them and there's less point of confusion, which is fair. And then the cost factor came into the picture again. Exploring discounted options for disposal, something to explore, not something we have full control over, because obviously that relationship is between the hauler and the businesses. But something to look into. Cost is a huge factor. And so this is where we're at right now. I'm reviewing this right now and we'll see what we can take out of this and how we can tackle this. But to be continued, it's very much an ongoing process. We've learned a lot already, I think, with the engagement that we've done, and we're really excited to move this forward. And that concludes what I have to share today. But if you have any questions, always happy to chat about this. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Any questions? I see none. So thank you, Laura. This is great. This is great information and super excited about District of Squamish moving forward with this project. It's going to be very, very valuable. And I'm sure that can be, even if that survey was done in Squamish, I'm sure it can be replicated in other areas where like most likely other businesses in other areas don't have the information, they don't know the bylaws, they're not aware of what they have to do. I have Misha. Yes, Misha.
Hi guys, hold on. Hi. I remember we were supposed to do a walk around for this initiative, and I'm just wondering if there's any plan of maybe resuming that in the near future.
It was canceled due to, no, I can't remember why, but we had to cancel it, and I didn't have, like, my goal was to do it in September, but then I forgot that we had SWIMA, and I could not. I just didn't have the capacity to organize it. But thank you for the reminder. I will I will have that on my list and see if even in the winter, like end of November, if that could be done. But I'll
I'm
reach out
very
to GFL
keen.
and see.
Thank you. I'm very keen.
Yeah, no, it's a great way of understanding a little bit the challenges for the haulers. And to give you a little bit of a background, Eldon and Brian, we did like every few years I go in Squamish and we do site visit with the hauler, like GFL, to their waste room, and he points out a little bit of what's working and what's not working for the hauler perspective. So when we go and work with planning and building in terms of like approving the drawing of the waste room, then we can have a better understanding of like what should be required on the drawing to help with the hauling of the waste. So it gives like a little bit of a more like a harder perspective on what to look for, how can we improve the waste room for the users, as well as a different perspective. So it's District of Squamish been organizing it with GFL for a few years now. I think I did one back in 2018 when I was working at the District of Squamish. So that's been quite a few years, and they've been learning a lot through over the years. So my goal was to organize one in Pemberton, as we do have a few, and it will be a great opportunity. I don't think that it's applicable for the District of Lillooet, but if it is, please let me know. Then we can work together on that. We can see like how, but I don't think you guys have like waste room and.
No, we don't have anything like that.
But if you're interested though, we can definitely share information and because I don't know if this is where the District of Lillooet would be interested to go when building multifamily, or like if it's even in the plan for the next couple of years in terms of like the growth of the District of Lillooet. But if you're interested in learning more, can definitely share what we learn. Same with you, Brian. If you're interested, I will definitely bring you in, as I know I think there's few projects, few development.
Is this for like multifamily apartments?
Yes.
Basically, we only have a couple, so we have curbside pickup weekly and
Okay.
a transfer station where the community comes.
Okay.
You know.
Perfect.
We're open 7 days a week.
Yeah, we're more than what we can do at this point for sure. Perfect. Well, thank you. Is there any more questions? Okay, I see none. So I do believe that we are at the end of our meeting, and it's now the roundtable. So what we usually do is if people have anything that they would like to bring, challenges, thing they learned, thing they would like to share, then we just open. Yeah, I'm not going to go one by one. We want to keep this meeting a little bit shorter than usual. But if you have anything that you would like to share, or if you have any questions to the group, or any challenges you would like to bring up to the table, please do share. Yes, Denise.
Okay, sorry. The only thing I will share as a bit of a challenge, and this is back to the EPR, like the mattresses, is and I don't know where this is at in the process, is the pressurized canisters. So I've been working a bit with Tim at the RMOW, and he's, has a little collection of things. Some are propane tanks, some of them are whipped cream, some of them are helium, some of them are foam for construction. There's a variety of things that people are dropping off that there isn't an actual place to dispose of them easily. So that's something that I think, I don't know if you know about the EPR or what's happening with that one. It did say it was going to come out in 2025, which we're at the end of now. But I'm just wondering if we know what's happened with that. And then the other thing that I just feel I need to tell everybody is that the Ministry of Transportation has stopped by and at some of our facilities and made sure that all of our workers there have a valid TDG certificate, transportation of dangerous goods. So even if you're not the shipper, if you are a site where these items might land, all of your staff needs to have the TDG. And we had most of our staff having the TDG, but we also didn't have those certificates hanging in the facility, and so we had to quickly fix that. So the rest of them had to quickly take it. All of the staff has to have it, and it has to be up on the wall where they can just come in and take a look. And actually, even then, the certificates had to say specific wording in a specific way to make them happy. But I just thought I'd put that on the table because I think people should know. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you, Denise. Yeah. I don't have information on when the new materials from the EPR update will be taking into effect. Shannon, go ahead.
Sorry, just maybe Sue's gonna give the same information. I was just gonna read from an email.
I was gonna say Sue might give a good answer.
Yeah, I just have, well, Sue, I actually now realize this is actually an email from you. So I can read it if you want. Just says that the EPR programs for automotive products, canisters, and medical sharps will launch in the first half of 2027, followed by the programs for electronic products, battery-containing products, and large consumer batteries in later 2027. So the way this works is now that they've added these new products. Oh, Sue's dropped it in the chat. They've added a bunch of new products that include canisters, thank goodness, pressurized canisters. And I think they're like looking at making sure they capture all of these, like the whipped cream ones and all that, I think is what they're looking at. Um, and now basically the industries or the producers have to come together, like hire an organization or create an organization, and then like develop a plan. Then that plan will come to all of us for consultation. And then they have to implement it. And so that's why they've got this like runway of 2027 that the EPR programs will like come into effect. Sue, is there anything I've missed on that?
Yeah, no, that's pretty good coverage. That first link I stuck in there is the changes, and the second link is the existing recycling reg. But if you go through the changes and go to the end, you'll see, and you should all be ready next year for a series of consultations because the due dates for program plans being ready and stuff is like almost for a while every second month. It's like, oh, it's sharps or it's canisters or it's batteries. And so there's going to be a lot of different program plans coming out. But it is good news because, and we want this to go well, I think, so that they can be excited again about mattresses. Because after 2014 with the packaging one, after all the kerfuffle on that, nothing happened for, well, till now, really. So, uh, oh, go, somebody's putting in the full list. Awesome. Thanks, Shannon. So yeah, so this is good news. And there'll be a lot of action on this next year, which should address a lot of those hard to manage things. There's also some little Denise, I forwarded you on the full email, which I think has some other details because they're making little tweaks around the hazardous waste regulation stuff to make it easier to be able to collect stuff so that if you were a small community or if you wanted to have a little depot somewhere, you don't have to have, stuff that you could easily buy in the store down the road. Then you need to have all your staff and special measures to just take it back at a different location. So, yeah, so we'll see what happens.
Thank you. Thank you. I probably missed that email, Sue. So thanks. And Brian, I know you do have propane tanks as well at your site. So if you do not get those emails, please let me know. We will definitely update you and like make sure you are aware of when they do consultation and all of that, so that you can have your say. Make sure that your voice, you can send your own challenges, and even if we share that, like we all have our own specific challenges for sure. Yes, Sue?
I was going to say, and sorry, Mary Lou, I'm not sure if I sent it to you or not, but what I did do was just like with Zero Waste BC, we have a consultations group. Sorry, the sun's starting to beam in here. We have a consultations group where different local governments or environmental groups or whoever wants to come, when there's different consultations from the province or programs or the federal government, we will share thoughts so that everybody can try to, if especially for people who are really busy and don't have time to do a deep dive, then it's a way for people to look through and say, oh, that makes sense for me. I'll send in my own comments. Or like Shannon's been awesome in the past. Like it's like, okay, here's some standard stuff. And then she'll say, and here's the Squamish perspective. We see this and this and this in our community. And so anybody who wants to be part of it, just email me. Yeah, that's kind of, and so I'd sent that out to that group, which is why I might have missed some of you on here, but I sent it to you, Mary Lou, so feel free to forward it.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, and I'm definitely excited about this because it has been a challenge even to find a collector, find someone that will be willing to come and take those compressed canisters. For again, most for the north. I've been begging for the last, I want to say, 4 years. I got few collections so far, but sometimes there's companies that like they want like us to have like 4,000 1 pounders on site before they're even like willing to come, and at a really high cost. So sometimes it's just like it's I'm really looking forward to have like something program that will work well and provide the same level of service across BC, and make sure that we like remote areas like receive service as well and not just hire like dense community and in areas where they can easily collect a large amount in a short period of time. Because yeah, like for us at the SRD anyway, like places like Goldbridge, even if we have the space, I do not feel comfortable having compressed canisters sitting there for large period of time. Like we're talking like 5, 10 years, until someone is willing to come. But again, I've been begging people to come and it has worked once, maybe twice. So hopefully that makes it a little bit easier for everyone. Yes, Brian.
If you're talking about propane, can you not burn off the gas and decommission them if you have a scrap metal bin? The little 1 pounders, you can burn off the fuel and take the valve out, put a little pink X on it, and long as it's drained, throw it in the metal bin. Scrap metal places will accept them as long as they're drained and marked that they're empty, as well as the 20 pounders. You could maybe burn off the fuel and take the valves out so there's less of a danger of explosion or anything.
Yeah. Yes, Denise, go ahead.
So it depends on, Brian, who you're working with. I think there is a company in Pemberton who will do that. I know ASM in Squamish wants to drain the propane canisters themselves if they take them, because they want to make sure if somebody makes a mistake, doesn't completely drain it, or if there's any issue and then they go to compact it with the other metal, they'll have an explosion. So they, I think it just really depends on who you're working with. It is a possibility when, especially, and I think it's a good idea for you guys because of your transportation issues and things. And it would be a good idea probably for Mary Lou in Lillooet for propane, the single-use propane canisters. You can empty them. It is a possibility. It's not a foolproof system though. You have to have people who are comfortable doing that, and things can definitely go wrong.
Shannon?
Sorry, just while we're on the topic of propane containers, I just wanted to highlight, I reached out to BC Parks recently, because we get a lot of propane containers from them, and I feel like that probably impacts a few folks on this call. And one company manages a bunch of the provincial parks in the Sea to Sky corridor. I want to say Birkenhead is the highest, like most northern that they have in their scope, but it goes all the way down to Porto Cove, which is south of Squamish here. And had a good initial call, and if anyone wants to be involved, she was very open to putting on some stickers and like talking about propane container collection at the parks. So feel free to reach out to me. Mary Lou and the Whistler team will be involved in that conversation. But if anyone else wants to be, let me know because yeah, we're just trying to like kind of figure out. We get a lot of containers from them, and it's getting expensive to handle them all. So, what does that look like? So anyway, just want to mention that.
Thanks for that reminder. Definitely going to be on that call. We try to push back because obviously, if they were to use Divine Transfer Station, we're not equipped for that. We don't officially accept propane canisters at the Divine Transfer Station. They're also getting highly regulated. So it's trying to figure like the whole like regulation aspect to make sure that when we do have a program, it's sustainable and we were following our regulations, but it's a little bit complicated as well. So yeah, so that's one. Thank you, Denise, for bringing that up. It's definitely, hopefully with the EPR, it's going to be a little bit more, or it's going to be organized and we'll know exactly what we're expected to do and in terms of training and containers to use and how to receive them. So yeah, let's move on. Next, anyone would like to bring something else to the table? I don't see any hands up. Okay, it's 3:06. We're gonna close the call. Thank you very much. I want to thank Brian and Ethan as new members. Thank you so much for joining. And this group is a great group to share and to ask questions. So please let me know if you wanna have like the conversation, and I will share emails and all of that. Like this is it's definitely a great group to ask questions and share challenges, and so we're all in this together. So thank you all, and if there's no other questions, we will close it at 3:07. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody.
Yeah.